The eyedropper tool. Now the eyedropper tool lives in here. You've got some subsets which we'll look at in a second, but very basically it allows you to sample areas of the image, either an average area, 5 by 5 pixels. We just click and then change the foreground and choose a reddier color from the rust here, or you can actually sample individual pixels by going down to point sample and just click again to do that. You can also sample by dragging. See, as I'm dragging across here, it's changing the color in the foreground icon there, so you can choose exactly what you want that way. Okay, now that's the eyedropper tool. Let's just have a quick look at the color sampler tool. This is a more advanced tool for printing. Basically, you can look at your colors and you can see the color values of individual pixels. So if we just click in the wood here, you can see now we've got a little 1 by the icon here, and there's a little 1 here as well. This is the RGB values of that specific point that we just sampled, red, green and blue values. That's sample 1. Let's go to sample 2 up in the ocean here, and you can see the RGB values of that as well. So when we make a color adjustment, like changing the saturation, for example, just whack that up, you can see now as I've increased the saturation, the colors have got much more vibrant, and the second column shows the new RGB values. The first column here shows the original sampled RGB values, so you can kind of compare them and see the difference. So you see as I drag, they're changing in the right hand column. So we can click OK, and we've now got the new values selected. Okay, so that's the sample tool, and you can actually have 3 or 4 samples, a maximum of 4 if you want to use that. And finally, you've got the measure tool, which allows you to draw a line between any 2 points and measure the units. So let's just draw a line between these 2 posts, and you can see that we've got along the top here you've got a width which is about 18.6 units. The units could be pixels, inches, whatever you've set up in your rulers section, and the height is just how much it's moved from the y-axis, basically from the start to the finish point. So the crucial thing you need to know is this width here, to see how many units you've travelled with the line. That's what you're measuring. So it's just a ruler that you can move anywhere at all. And an additional thing about the ruler is, let me just draw that again more closely to the wooden fence here. You can actually use it to align the picture, make it horizontal. Say your image is slightly squint. Follow the length of the object. Maybe it's the bottom of a building or something like this, and you can actually straighten this horizontal. You can straighten this horizontally by going to Image, Rotate Canvas, Arbitrary, and that will show you how much you need to rotate this line by to get the image to be horizontal. So if I do that, then this is a very exaggerated example, but if I zoom out now, you can see this line here is perfectly horizontal, and the image has been rotated to make that happen. So obviously this is a very exaggerated example. You wouldn't normally straighten something like this out, but it's a very useful tool. You could do it with verticals as well. So if your verticals aren't quite vertical, you can use that same technique to rotate the image so that your verticals will be vertical. Okay, and that's the eyedropper tool, the color sampler tool, and the measure tool.